All right, let's go ahead and find a seat. We're going to get this meeting of the Chaves County Board of Commissioners, this regular meeting on November 17th, 2022 started. If you all would all please stand, rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Commissioner Zell.
Join me in honoring our flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Commissioner Taylor, would you lead us in a word of prayer?
Would you all bow your heads? Dear Lord, we ask your guidance for this meeting, and we thank you for all our blessings as we're approaching this Thanksgiving time. We thank you for the blessings we've had in the very bountiful year, and we hope that all the families gathered here have a wonderful and blessed Thanksgiving. Amen.
Amen. Miss Cindy, while Bill is calling Commissioner Bill Berry in, do we have a quorum?
This is Jeff. Leave a message.
Okay, we have at least 4 here at the moment. So,
You should have re-recorded that. Should have said, "This is Jeff. I'm all ears."
yeah. Commissioners, let's go ahead and get the approval of minutes. Is there any questions or discussion on it or changes that need to be made?
No,
This is Jeff. Leave a message.
it's okay. There he is. Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the minutes from Thursday, October 27th.
Second.
I have a motion by Commissioner Dana and a second by Commissioner Zell to approve the minutes. What is the date from our last meeting?
October 27th.
Excuse me, October 27th. Any further questions or discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign.
There he is.
There he's on. Jeff's on.
Hey, Jeff.
5-0. Okay, great. We're going to change our agenda just a little bit. We've got a presentation, or excuse me, an award that Commissioner Zell wants to bring this young man up on doing such a great job at the Chaves County Live. Which one of these events was it that he got this award at, Commissioner?
Chaves County Fair.
Go ahead. Take it
And
away, Commissioner.
This is Brock Spear, and come on up, Brock. And he made the sale
All right.
with this wonderful steer, which the Chaves County Board of Commissioners contributed to the purchase price of, and he wanted to.
Did you bring us some beef?
He wanted to bring you guys a little thank you gift.
Thank you.
And then Brock, you got a picture, and in the chairman is your photos there.
Everybody.
Get in here, folks.
Congratulations, bud.
Steer's name was Jamal.
Jamal. Yeah, awesome.
All right.
And I know you were planning on skipping more school than this, but no. Get your ass off of there. Go to school.
Prop that up. There you go.
That's cute.
Congratulations, Brock. Great job.
Yes. Good job. Good job.
Okay, we got a bunch of folks here in the room that we want to honor today with this proclamation. This is Election Workers Day. Whereas election workers make up the front line of democracy and are essential to free and fair elections in Chaves County, New Mexico. And whereas election workers are local, temporary workers supporting free and fair elections in their local communities. And whereas election workers undergo elections training and take an oath of office to faithfully support the New Mexico Constitution and the Constitution of the United States. And whereas many election workers are veterans, retirees, or seniors who participate in the election process and continued service to our country. And whereas election workers are registered as Republicans, Democrats, Libertarians, Independents, working families, green or declined to state, but put aside party affiliation to support a fair and transparent election process. And whereas election workers assist thousands of voters in their communities and provide vital support and access for individuals with disabilities. And whereas election workers work hundreds of hours from the start of early voting on October 11th to Election Day on November 8th and post-Election Day tallying of results. Now, therefore, on this day, set aside to canvass the 2022 general election, the Chaves County Board of Commissioners hereby express our gratitude to our fellow New Mexicans for a job well done. Let it further be resolved that Thursday, November 17th, 2022, is hereby proclaimed Election Workers' Day in Chaves County, done this 17th day of November, 2022. All of our election workers, if you guys would take a stand. If all of our election workers would actually come up here in front of the dais, and we'll get a photo. Miss Cindy, you want to come receive this? Steph, you guys probably ought to come up here too with Cindy. Come on.
Yeah.
I'm good. How are you? Good. Stand by your mom. Yeah. Come up here.
Yeah, all the clerk's office, come on up.
Get everybody in the picture.
Yeah. Squeeze.
Yep.
Sometimes you don't listen very well.
Come on, guys.
All right.
We're on the TV. Just take a snapshot.
Yeah.
This way a little bit. There we go.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, okay. Who's doing it?
This way.
Oh, Sarah.
All right. Awesome. Let's get these election workers a big hand. Thank you guys so much.
That's gotta be driving those people crazy.
I'm just here for the participation trophy.
I have a trophy.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Good, okay. There it goes.
Oops.
It's all right.
Warn me.
Yeah, just go ahead and set it wherever. See if you can prop it up somewhere. Okay, Miss Andrea Moore, are you in the room? We're going to do a couple of quick presentations from our Chamber of Commerce and EDC before we get to the rest of the presentation. So Ms. Moore, please let us know.
Well, thank you for having me here today, Commissioners. I just wanted to give a quick update on all the things that we're doing at the Chamber. Our most current issue of the magazine is at the printers right now, so it should be hitting everybody's doors before Thanksgiving. Lots of great information on where to get all of your holiday shopping done. Please shop local. We've been through a lot the last few years, so please support our small businesses that have made it through. We are continuing to grow at the Chamber. On average, we're getting at least one membership request a day, either via online or because of Kyle's hard work going out and beating the streets and contacting our fantastic businesses all over Chaves County. And we're just gearing up for the holiday season. We will be closed the entire week of Thanksgiving, which is next week. So if you need to get a hold of us, everybody has my phone number, I'm sure. If they don't, you can find it. It's been the same number for 25 years. But we're just gearing up for phase 2 in the rebuild and rebranding of the Chamber. All of us staff members have started leadership training and finding different trainings on how to grow and become a better Chamber. And our editor, Trace Jolliffe, has been doing a stand-up job. She is constantly asking for more responsibilities and more duties in the office. So she may be my replacement one day. And with that, I stand for any questions.
Commissioners, do you have any questions for Ms. Moore?
Mr. Chairman, I just have a comment. Thank you so much for the Roswell Now magazines. Miss Rita and I were out at Midway Joy Center, and I took some of those out there because they have a lot of information. I keep those in my car, so that's why I come and pilfer those at the Chamber. So
Well, that's what they're there for.
if your cameras show me taking stacks, that's what I'm doing every place I go, because you hear it all the time. What's in Roswell, what's in Chaves County, where do we go and stuff. So I like to, it's good information. And I understand there's recipes too in those
Absolutely.
snacks.
We have a writer that just loves to put her recipes in. We did acquire a copy of the cookbook from the Chinese restaurant, and Chu, sorry.
Chu's.
Oh, I've slept and I apologize. My mind is askew. And we have received permission from the Chu family to be able to reproduce some of those recipes as well. So next year, be looking forward to that. And a fun little fact that we found out, because it was the 100-year anniversary of the fair. Next year, Roswell is going to be 150 years old. So our 4 issues next year are going to be celebrating Roswell being 150 years. So be looking for some retro designs and some throwback information for everybody.
And I appreciate you including Chaves County, because it's not just Roswell.
Oh, absolutely.
You always have articles in there about Chaves County. We have a wonderful history and
Yes.
stuff. And that's the main reason why I like to, because a lot of people, I've only been here 45 years. And so, yeah, I'm still learning the history here.
Absolutely.
So
We've had
thank you. We
people
appreciate
born
that.
and raised in Roswell and Chaves County that have said, oh my gosh, I didn't know.
Right.
And they've lived here all of their lives. And we're always looking for people to contribute to the magazine. So if you are a writer, if you are a photographer, contact us. We would love to showcase your talents in our magazine, because our magazine is for the community, by the community. Because I've said it for 2 years and I will continue to say it, everybody will get very bored with just me. And we want to showcase our wonderful community, because it is a wonderful community.
Thank you. I appreciate everything y'all do at the Chamber. You've come a long way. Thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioners, anything else? Andrea, we've got a big event coming up in December.
Yes.
First time we've had
Yes.
I shouldn't say the first time, but we have a college bowl game coming back
Yes.
to Roswell and Chaves County.
Yes, December 2nd, Friday, December 2nd, 6 p.m., the Wool Bowl Junior College Bowl game will be played at the Wool Bowl. And we should know by the end of next week who the two teams are. The Chamber has partnered with NEMI and the community to help with that bowl game. We are providing gift bags for all 200 players that we anticipate will be coming in. We are donating 20 gift baskets for the coaches' wives, and we are even doing a tequila tasting brunch for those wives. And we are partnering with Saul at Antigua's, so it's not going to, because I had asked, what should we do for these wonderful women that are coming with their husbands? And typically they do a wine tasting or they go on some kind of adventure in the local community. So that's when I called Saul and I said, hey, what can we do? And he goes, well, we're kind of a tequila area, so let's do a tequila tasting. So we're excited to be helping out on that event.
So, and I think it was probably somewhere in the late 60s when we had our last Wool Bowl. So it's great to have that event coming back. And thank you to everybody, including the New Mexico Military Institute, for bringing this back to this community, because it's big, it's fun. And after they won the national championship last year, they put the Institute and this community back on the map as far as college football is concerned.
Absolutely.
So thank you for being a big part of that.
Absolutely. And we're still, if anybody wants to contribute items or a basket, there's still time. We will be putting everything together right after Thanksgiving to make sure everything's placed in the hotels when they check in.
Thank you.
Thank you.
very much.
Chairman,
Appreciate everything you
Andrea,
do.
I'd like to just say that if you haven't been out to see an Institute Bronco football game, you've missed something. They play great football, and some of the teams coming in, they've been great games. I was there last Saturday night, very cold, and the Institute won 24-23 by blocking a field goal attempt by Navarro with 2 seconds left in the game, and they won.
Yeah.
It's a great experience to go watch our Broncos play. And I believe they have a playoff game this Saturday, I'm not sure. But if you have an opportunity, go watch them, and please go to that Wool Bowl game, because it is good football.
Absolutely. There's going to be food trucks beforehand, so it's going to be a great event.
Yeah, awesome. All right, thank you again.
Thank
All
you.
right. All right, Mike Espiritu with the Chaves County Roswell Economic Development.
Good morning, Chairman, Commissioners. Just a few updates. First, I wanted to share with you how much we appreciate, the community appreciates your work with Project Greenlight. The ceremony you did at the courthouse was very nice and well attended, and appreciated by many veterans across our county, and especially the continuing display of our courthouse and this building in Greenlight is very, very nice. Thank you for that. As you may know, we just held a HARN event at the Roswell Adult Center this week, and we had about 20 employers, about as many job seekers, and I think the largest share of possible potential new employees is actually Chaves County. So you were out in force, and I think you were very fortunate to receive some possibilities with your detention center, which I'm pretty excited about as well. We continue to have ongoing meetings with many of you and with the city concerning the Air Center and how we're going to move that Air Center forward for the future, and especially with Ascent to Aviation as that project comes to fruition. Recently, you attended the Admiral Beverage open house. Thank you for being there. You saw what that facility is. It took a lot of effort by a lot of folks to make that happen. Originally, they projected to hire an additional 7 employees, would have brought them up to around 70 staff members, but they have 95 employees out there today. So much more than they had predicted, which is a good piece of why we do the things we do in economic development, and that is help grow jobs and economic benefit to our community. As you know, we applied and received the award as a certified economic development organization with the state of New Mexico. Received notice that we also are recipients of a grant as a result of that award, and we'll be using that for more of the activities that we work towards to achieve the goals that we have. We are fortunate to be able to reapply for that every year and receive those additional funds if they're available at the state. If you've looked at our website recently, you'll notice that there's no website up. And I want to share with you, if you ever, and these IT guys probably know this really well, but if you ever lose the ability to have access to your domain, you're pretty much goofed up. And what happened to us is in early October, I had discovered that the owner, the hoster of our domain, kind of fell off the face of the earth, and we had no access to our website, which impacted a lot of things that we do in displaying our organization to the world. Well, coincidentally, we had hired a website developer that only creates economic development websites. We're getting ready to launch that, soft launch in December. We finally got our domain back, and this next week we should have a brief website up in December, but you'll see, again, the makings of a really nice website. As you know, we have a legislative session coming up in January, and next year in January we'll have also a Chaves County legislative reception for our lawmakers, and want to make sure you're invited to that and many others. The date is the 15th of February. It'll be at the Hotel El Dorado, and you'll see some invites come out and save the dates. But look forward to having that again finally, after all the things that have happened with our world these past few years. And lastly, all of us are reminded this time of year how thankful we are for the many blessings we have, not only upon us individually, but also from a business perspective and the relationships we have with many others. And I can't express how much, the short time I've been here in Roswell, how much I appreciate the work of Chaves County, of what you do and the team here within the county does for the many citizens that live here. Thank you for that. And if you do travel to go visit family and friends for the holiday, please be safe, and we'll see you back soon, because we have a lot of other work ahead of us. And other than that, sir and Madam Commissioners, I stand for any questions you may have.
Commissioners, any questions for Mike?
Nope. Thank you.
Yeah, don't see any, but keep grinding away. We're headed in the right direction, and it's great to have the Chaves County and the city of Roswell working together on a lot of these projects, especially out at the Air Center. And I know it's we're going through some hurdles, but we're going to get there, and we've got some great things coming to this community, and it's going to be big. It really will be, and so greatly appreciated. I want to, Mike alluded to the jobs fair that was just done, and so he had a letter for me to read. It says, "Please accept our appreciation to Mr. Joe Petty and Mr. Raymond Burns and the County Manager Bill Williams for their assistance in our recent hiring event. These individuals were responsible for helping us transport tables, chairs for this event held on November 15, 2022 at the Roswell Adult Center. We could not have been successful without their support and assistance. We saw nearly 20 employers, which included Chaves County Human Resources Office, who appeared to have great success with potential candidates for the Chaves County Detention Center. We also saw as many job seekers. Again, we are indeed grateful for the support and assistance which helped the hiring event be successful. Please convey our appreciation to these individuals for going above and beyond normal duties." This is really big for us here in Chaves County, the city of Roswell, and this just kind of shows how we're all working together to get great things done for this community. So thank you for putting that together, and thank you to everybody who participated in working on that. And hopefully, I know Justin's here, and hopefully we got some new detention officers coming to us from that event. So thanks again.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, first on the agenda from our New Mexico counties folks on the detention center stuff, we have Grace and Clay and Robin that are here to give us a presentation. This presentation that is being given to us is something that the reason why New Mexico counties are so involved with this, and of course Clay Corn is our former detention supervisor and did an amazing job for us while he was here before he moved up to try and help with the entire state. The entire state of New Mexico, all of our counties are dealing with these issues. And so they're here to give us a presentation and try and help us figure out how and where and when we get back to some normalcy within our detention facilities. So with that, thank you guys. Come on down. Where did Clay run off to? Or is he just going to hide back there? Okay.
I think he's going to hide, but I was going
Okay.
to introduce him as well. So Clay Corn, our loss prevention detention specialist and former administrator for this county. Good morning, everybody. I'm Grace Phillips. I'm General Counsel for New Mexico Counties. And with me presenting this morning is Robin Martinez, who's our multi-line claims manager. I know the chair is well familiar with the New Mexico Association of Counties. He's been on our board for many years. But some of you may not realize the organization's actually been around for over 85 years. Counties got together 85 plus years ago and said, you know, stronger together. If if we have a consolidated voice for advocacy, counties can be stronger and can be heard. Our counterpart for the cities is the Municipal League. It's the same concept. And then in the mid-'80s, when private insurance carriers just didn't want to sell workers' compensation insurance to counties, they just got out of the business. The counties came together and created what's called the New Mexico County Insurance Authority. And that authority, your county's a member, that authority provides not just workers' compensation insurance, but also multi-line and law enforcement coverage. Those are the areas that Robin oversees. And what I'm here to say today is the single biggest threat to the viability of that pool, which has been critically important to counties. You know, some people call it the insurance of last resort, because there was a time when counties couldn't get coverage, is our jails. You know, the detention facilities in the facility and around the state. And so we're really here at the request of our county insurance authority. We want to, and this is not a Chavez County specific issue, it's a statewide issue. So I'm going to share with you some information, some statewide data, but I'm also going to talk to you about what's going on in Chavez County particularly. And we need your interest and your good ideas. I don't think any of us have a silver bullet. The pool board has invested heavily. I mean, the reason I'm on board, frankly, I got there a little over 17 years ago because counties were getting sued for strip searches. And the concept was a civil rights attorney could be a useful tool for counties. And we also, you know, we have a full-time detention specialist who works with folks around the state. And so I do have a question. Is there a, do I say, hey, can someone click, or... Oh, that's you. Okay. All right. Awesome. Okay. Like, well, you know, it's a nice slide, but we've got more. So thank you. So anyway, let's go to the first slide. And Mr. Chair, I'm happy for this to be a conversation. I don't want people to feel like they just have to sit and listen to me talk. If somebody wants to interject a question, I'm happy to field it.
I'm sure you'll get those.
Okay. All right. Okay. Great. Well, this first slide, it's a picture of the state, and it shows you where the beds are in New Mexico, which counties have detention facilities. Not all of them do. We have 25 adult detention facilities in New Mexico. Several have closed in the last 15 years. And what you'll see is we only have 4 juvenile detention facilities. You all used to have one, but over the years, again, many people closed their juvenile detention operations, largely because fewer and fewer youth were being detained, and it became kind of an expensive thing to operate throughout the state. So here's where the facilities are today. If you look at the stars indicate those facilities that are accredited. We have an adult detention professional accreditation program. It's a very rigorous program, over 200 mandatory standards. It's hard to do. Chavez County was the very first county to accomplish that, to achieve that. Clay was here at the time. Sandra Stewart was your detention administrator. But that's something for you to be very proud of. Someday I would love to see every facility in the state be accredited, but it's a difficult thing to do. Not everybody can get it over the finish line the first time. Next slide. So this little jail operation you have is your biggest expense, in addition to being your biggest liability exposure. That's just, that's the truth, and Robin's going to tell you a lot more about that as we get to her slides. But the budget for your jail, $9.8 million. What you actually spent in 2022 was over $11 million. And then we use the general fund budget as a metric to compare that to. That's a really high proportion of general fund. I can tell you that statewide, it's 20% of county general fund. So you guys are over 50%, right? If my simple math is okay. So something to keep in mind. How do you spend that money? Well, most of it goes to personnel, and that's appropriate. Like that's the lifeblood of the operation. You also have just a pretty large operations category. Medical is almost $2 million. What I can tell you statewide is counties are spending approximately $50 million on medical care in detention facilities. And that's an important thing to do when you have responsibility for someone's custody and safekeeping. You have to provide medical and mental health care for them. And it's one of those things, pay now or pay later. If you don't do it, Robin's going to tell you that can be a very costly mistake. And some people think of detention as a public health opportunity, and in many ways it is, but it shouldn't be the portal to care. And I know you're going to hear a presentation after ours that I think you'll have some ideas about, what are we doing as a community to address people's health and behavioral health needs, maybe so they don't come into the jails. So statewide, again, what's happened with people in jail? Well, a lot of folks think about the prison system as the big system in the state, right? But the reality is counties process many, many more people. Over the years, the state prison system will have a population of, say, around 8,000. It's gone down. It was lower, it's gone down. But for many years, counties booked over 100,000 bookings in a year. That was pretty standard. So the volume, now a lot of those people are the same folks, but the volume of people going through the system is much greater in county jails. But you can see over the last few years, and some of this is COVID related, bookings have actually gone down pretty significantly, although there's a little bit of a rise in 2022. Go ahead. These are the Chavez County bookings. So you can see a pretty precipitous reduction in how many people are being booked into the facility during COVID, right, 2020, 2021, but then increasing pretty substantially in the fiscal year that just ended in July. What's been your average daily population? Well, that fluctuates, but again, we saw a decline in COVID and then an increase in the most recent year. Statewide, what's happened to the population? Well, before COVID, the jail population statewide was on a decline. And when COVID hit, there was just a big push to try to reduce the number of people in jail. Very hard to manage infectious disease in a confined setting. And the courts recognized it. I think law enforcement recognized it. Our partners on the state recognized it. And so there was a lot of effort to reduce the number of people who were in custody. May 1st, 2020 was really the bottom, right? That was the lowest population. But you can see what's happened since then is it's been a really steady increase in the number of people in custody. In Chavez County, it hasn't been as direct a line, but you're still looking at a pretty big, you were at a little over 170 people in custody, and you've been up more in the 250 range. That's a pretty big increase in the number of people in your facility. They're not taking up all of your beds by a long stretch, but it makes a difference to the operation. Who's using your facility? So this is looking at bookings over a 5-year period. And what you can see, the red there is basically Roswell PD. It's municipal arrest. So who's booking into your facility? 66% is your local city. You can see counties about 21%. And again, this was a 5-year data ending in 2020. And then if you look at the slide, who's paying for it? Well, who's paying for it? The blue is you guys. The municipal contribution for 2022 was $286,875. And then you can see, you know, the federal detainees, actually it was a very small amount, and then you get some money from the state as well. The state money is something that has been the subject of advocacy by our organization for many years. In 2007, we got the legislature to create an inmate reimbursement fund, and the idea was to put money in a fund that would be distributed to counties every year to help pay the cost. Well, for quite a few years, that's been woefully underfunded. The dark blue line is the New Mexico Sentencing Commission's estimate of what it costs counties to house, and the light blue line is how much the legislature has appropriated, right? So what I can tell you is last year, the appropriation got up to $5 million, so I wanted to give you that in terms of full disclosure. That was a big increase over recent years, but our board has asked us as a priority to try to get that up to $7.5 million this year, which would be much closer to the actual average over the last 5 years. So one of the reasons we're here, and you've already heard some comment about it, is staffing in our detention facilities. This is unprecedented from my perspective. I mean, there's always been a facility here and there that have had staffing issues, but if you look at our statewide numbers, the trend of how many staff we have in our facilities, and this is just a one-year period, but it was a pretty significant one. You can see statewide, not just Chavez County, boy, the number of vacancies has really been on a downward, vacancies have been increasing. The number of staff's really been on a downward trend. In May of this year, we asked counties, how many vacancies do you have? And we're really looking at security staff here, not absolutely everybody. And you can see, well, you can maybe guess one of the reasons why we're in Chavez County. Chavez County, Curry County had two of the biggest vacancy rates in May of this year. But I'm also concerned with the fact that more than half of our counties are over 20%. That's a lot.
Grace, can I interrupt you for a second? So kind of a couple of things that you've already covered already, but is this one of the main reasons why Otero County shut down their detention facility, was because they didn't have the staffing?
Right.
And they closed in what, May?
They did. You know, my understanding is they haven't closed. They've depopulated. So they sent out a lot of people. Well, you know, it's they still have some folks, so they're still operating. When I talked to the manager, they're intending to continue to operate, but they saw the risk, and this is only part of the picture, right? It's how many people do you have in custody and how many folks do you have to supervise them. And in their situation, and yeah, they had a very high vacancy rate, almost 40%, but they also had a lot of detainees, and they just felt they couldn't safely operate. And so they moved out. Many counties helped out. Even counties that were struggling themselves helped out Otero County. But yeah, that was a step that they took, and they also transferred some detainees to some state, privately operated facilities. And there's a facility in Alamogordo, I think, that MTC operates that took some, and I think they may have sent some out of state.
Thank you.
Yeah, sure. So this was the snapshot in May of 2022, and again, a lot of counties struggling. And then the next slide, this is August of 2022. It actually got worse. We had counties with over 50% in August as compared to May. We just asked for these numbers again, and I don't have the full spreadsheet, but I can tell you that for Chavez County, your vacancy rates are still really high. I was talking to your administrator this morning, and I know he's got some people coming in. We just heard the last presenter. So it's good that the vacancy rate's getting smaller, but it's still a very, very, very significant vacancy rate, and we need all of your wise minds and thoughtful ideas about what to do. I'm frankly concerned that counties at this point are sort of, I don't want to say stealing staff from each other, but you're fighting with each other for staff. Clay mentioned he was in Albuquerque, and there's billboards up, $10,000 transfer bonus and things like that. And counties are, I think, trying very, very hard to recruit, and we're fighting over a limited pool. So that's a challenge. Let me stop there. Oh, there she is, yeah. And talk about, and turn it over to Robin to talk about the claims side, both, again, statewide and then Chavez County in particular, because that's what, oh, yes.
Well, no, and I want to tell you one of the things that Chavez County is thinking about doing, and I throw this out to you so that you can give us some ins and outs. But one of the things that we've been thinking about doing is, along with the sheriff's department, because our law enforcement deputies, they can't become officers until they're 21. So we're looking at trying to set up a program where we can hire the younger folks that can start with the detention facility, maybe work to do some security at the courthouse as they work their way up to being able to go to the academy and become that law enforcement officer at the age of 21. So I think that's something that maybe us as the New Mexico counties should look at, maybe putting that program together. And I'll have that conversation more with Clay and you guys. Of course, I'm short timing this deal, but I think it could be a great plan for us for the future of our detention and law enforcement. So, but we're going to be working on that.
Yes, and Commissioner, that's actually a model that other states use, where for the same reason they look at detention as maybe an entry point to a public safety career, and I think it does have some potential. I also think we need to recognize that the work that the women and men in our detention facilities are doing is really valuable, important work. It's not lesser than other functions. In fact, they're keeping their communities safe. They're making a tremendous difference in the lives of the people that they supervise. It's not an easy job. It's a meaningful job. It's an important job, and I think it absolutely does need that level of respect. And I do think the managers all met in Santa Fe week before last, and really we're talking about what can we do as a state from a campaign perspective to elevate the profession and give it the respect that it really deserves, because it is very important work, and it's very impressive what the people in our facilities are doing today, and often in an understaffed setting.
Well, and absolutely, and if they start there at 19 and they get to where they could do that, and they say, "Oh no, I'm more important here." So I mean, it's always a starting point. So, but thank you for that.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you.
Good morning, Ms. Robin.
Good morning, Commission. Thank you for having us here today. As Grace mentioned, I'm the claims manager for the multi-line department at New Mexico counties. The multi-line department oversees the claims that are filed against counties, the 29 counties that are in the pool. The multi-line department includes multi-line claims, which are your property damage claims for your properties, your vehicles, general liability claims, as well as employment liability claims. The law enforcement section of that are for detention center and sheriff's department. So the information that I'm going to share with you here today only includes detention center law enforcement liability claims. So this first slide that we have shows the total incurred losses over a 10-year period by claim type. And during this time period, we've had paid a total of $85,041,945 over the entire pool. Chavez County's portion of that is $1.3 million. Now, total incurred, what does that mean? It means what we've paid to defend cases, settle cases, and open claims, the open reserves on those open claims. And we've categorized these by claim type to try to capture what those risks are. At times it's difficult because sometimes we have limited information when the claim is presented to us, and we do our best to capture what type of claim they're alleging that the violation occurred. And as you can see from this pie chart, the highest percentage of claims come out of failure to protect. Examples of failure to protect claims include suicides and detainee on detainee assaults. The next highest category are claims alleging inadequate mental health treatment at 24%. And then following that is inadequate medical treatment. And as Grace mentioned earlier, I think those are pretty self-explanatory on those types of claims. Other types of claims are sexual misconduct. You have 10% over the entire pool. Sexual misconduct are claims where detention officers engage in sexual misconduct with detainees. We have use of force claims. Those are claims where the detainee is alleging that the detention officer used excessive force. We also have breach of duty, due process, and false imprisonment claims. Due process type claim is usually a strip search case. So we hadn't had a large number of those claims in the past 10 years. I think, as Grace mentioned, it was a problem early on, and that's been resolved through some case law. False imprisonment is just what it says, is detainees are saying they shouldn't be in jail for whatever reason. Breach of duty is kind of a catch-all. Typically, those are claims where they're claiming damaged property or lost property. It's also a type of claim where individuals are saying that they weren't taken to court, they weren't given their commissary money, other things. But again, sometimes it's difficult to determine what type of claim they're alleging when it's presented to us. Now let's look at Chaves County's claims. Again, that $1.3 million over that 10-year period. And the difference between the highest exposure claims that Chaves County has seen over this period is sexual misconduct. And that's at 32%, and then breach of duty at 24%. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that you've had a lot of these claims. It could mean that you've had a handful of these claims, but the cost of those claims was high. So that's where those come from. Also, just like with pool-wide, the inadequate medical treatment claims are just as high. They're about 19% there. You've had a few use of force claims as well as the failure to protect claims. Let's see what other counties show in terms of where they fall with that $85 million over that 10-year period. As you can see at the top of the list is Bernalillo County with a little over $24 million of total incurred, which is 28% of that $85 million number. A number of counties there range between 3 and 7 million, a number of counties between 1 and 2 million, and at the bottom there is highlighted as Chaves County at a little over 1.3 million, which is 1.5% of the $85 million. Now, in terms of severity of claims and the frequency of these claims, as I mentioned, we provide the multi-line and law enforcement coverage for the counties that are in the pool. We also provide the workers' comp. So workers' comp coverage are claims when your employees get injured while on the job. So these two pie charts show that the number of claims filed in the 10-year period in detention centers only. Work comp had 3,601 claims. So by far, as you can see, the majority of the claims came out of workers' comp. 1,992 out of the detention center for law enforcement, and then 825 multi-line claims. But on the pie chart on the right, there's that $85 million number under law enforcement liability claims. So although we have a higher number of claims filed under workers' comp, the value of the claim is definitely under the law enforcement. 25 million is the number for the work comp, and then 16 million for multi-line. Now, doing another dive into the frequency and severity of claims, we do this by claim type. So as I showed you earlier, the failure to protect claims is the highest percentage of where that $85 million has been spent. But as you can see, there are 379 claims at a little over $22 million for those types of claims. However, in contrast, if you look at the inadequate mental health treatment claims, high number there, a little over $20 million. However, only 51 claims in that category. So when you do the math, I think it's about a $400,000 average cost per claim for mental health claims, whereas for failure to protect, it's around $60,000. Still high numbers for inadequate medical treatment and use of force claims, and as you go on down, you can see what those numbers are. But the total number of claims is 2,000, a little over 2,000 claims to represent that $85 million. Now, when I get the claims in my department, the incident has already occurred. So what we are tasked to do is investigate and evaluate whether those claims have liability. If we determine there is liability, we do our best to try to mitigate and reduce that exposure by defending the case or settling the case if necessary. We work really closely with the counties and with our defense counsel to try to get that accomplished. We also work very closely with our risk management department and our loss prevention department to try to help the counties out to determine if there are policies that need to be implemented, policies that need to be changed, or training that needs to be accomplished. One of the results of this is the fact that this isn't just unique to Chaves County, to New Mexico. This is countrywide. But one of the results is that we are having some challenges in obtaining reinsurance. So the pool is self-insured for a certain amount, and then we go out into the market and we try to purchase that reinsurance layer for coverage. And our reinsurer, we are waiting for a number right now from them so that we can have numbers going into 2023 to see what that coverage is going to be like. But unfortunately, it is getting difficult to obtain that reinsurance coverage, and it's likely going to affect the counties in terms of how much coverage might be available and whether or not we can actually get that coverage. So with that, I stand for questions.
Commissioners, any questions for Ms. Robin?
Do you have the same reinsurer for the multi-line that you do for law enforcement?
We do. Berkeley is our reinsurance carrier. Grim numbers, I know, but I think it's a reality, and I think one of the reasons, again, why we're here is our pool board asked us to come and make the counties aware of how important this issue is and the risk that the counties face, not only individually, but as a pool, because you're in a pool of 29 other counties where you share your losses together. And so, you know, that's a benefit for sure, but it's also a little bit difficult when you see high numbers like this. But it's definitely your highest exposure.
Mr. Chairman, I do have a question. You had mentioned that we do have some legislation that we are trying to present during the next 60-day session. What other legislation that, I know I got a list of priorities, but do you have priorities?
We do, and I'll let
we're
Grace
working
address
on?
those. She's on our lobbying team.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, Commissioner, thank you for the question. I got the same question from a member of the audience who said, I think very wisely, what about retirees? Why can't they come back and work in our detention facilities? Well, the answer is under current law, they can't. You know, return to work is not allowed. And our board asked us to pursue as a priority return to work for public safety. Which would essentially change the law to allow retirees to come back to work. You know, I think the board's vision was broadly law enforcement as well as detention. I'm going to tell you that is going to be a very, very heavy lift. We attended an interim committee recently where some legislation, not our bill, but some legislation was proposed to the interim committee for support, and it got a hard no. There's a lot of opposition to the concept. We were hoping that maybe if we narrow it enough and focus on detention and put some bumpers in it, we could get somewhere. We'll see, but right now it's not something that looks really promising. Doesn't mean we're not going to try. It just means I think we need to be realistic about the likelihood. But I agree with the observation. We need to grow the pool. We can't just keep fighting with each other about, you know, who's going to get the employees. We need a bigger pool of people. And from my perspective, somebody who's retired, I don't care if they've retired from law enforcement, but somebody who's had a career and they want to continue to serve would be a wonderful candidate to train and work in our facilities.
So, Grace, real quick, you said there was a lot of opposition, and I know we had this conversation in our board meetings and stuff, but I think the public needs to be really aware where that opposition comes from to this, and a lot of it, if my memory serves me correctly, it comes from the unions. But if you would expand on that.
Sure. Yeah, I think the unions have a long-standing opposition to return to work for, and I would do a poor job of stating their case on that. But I think they have, persuaded legislators. They've obtained commitments from legislators to oppose it. My hope is that at a certain point we could reach a common understanding that it's in the best interest of their members as well as our employees to work in facilities that are adequately staffed. I mean, it's their members are working a lot of overtime. Their members are working, in an environment that doesn't have the number of staff that it should. And I would hope that common interest in a safe and healthy workplace would cause us to get to some agreement on that, but we haven't gotten there yet.
Well, and to that point, I mean, so public safety, it affects counties, but also where part of this issue comes in with coming back to work is with our public education also. Mm-hmm. We've got a lot of teachers out there that have retired that would come back to work, but because of some of these regulations, they don't. And we're hurting for people to go back to work, and they want to go back. And so somewhere along the line, I hope that there's some common sense amongst all those entities that will bring this back to the table during the legislative session and maybe get some folks back to work so that we are protecting our communities and we are getting that education back out to our kids. So anyway, thank you.
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman, I do have one more question. On the claims side of it, when you presented these, are these claims that were, like you said, you investigated and they were true, or are they false or overruled? How does that process if you come up when they're overruled or false claims?
Sure, there's a variety. So there are claims where there's clear liability, and there's no doubt that instead of going to court and having a trial, we don't want to have an adverse ruling against a county. So we recognize those risks and we try to settle those as cost effective as possible. There are some claims that we did not settle and we defended and we obtained a dismissal in favor of the county. So that total number includes what we paid for defense fees and costs. So we have a panel of defense attorneys, we have an in-house legal bureau, and those are the attorneys that handle those claims on behalf of the counties, and we do win some.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Commissioner Bilberry, real quick, don't want to forget about you. Hopefully you're still on the line. Do you have any questions for Grace or Robin?
No, I don't. It's a great presentation, very informative. I appreciate all your hard work putting that together.
Thank you. We appreciate your time.
Grace, do you guys have anything else? Are you going to have Justin and Clay come up, or Clay's saying no? I'm happy. Yeah.
Good morning, Chair and Commissioners. Thank you for the time to allow the presentation. As you are aware, I'm the chair of the detention affiliate that works with the New Mexico Association of Counties, and I'm also the chair of the Adult Professional Standards Council that does the accreditations for the facilities. So we're aware of some of the troubles that are out there, and we're trying to get ahead of them. So the presentation does share a lot of information, but I don't want anybody to leave out of here to think that there's a barn fire going on over at the jail. We have a number of professional staff that are coming in and doing their work, and then some. We have some leaders that are working to develop and cultivate that staff. We've been working with the community, our HR department, with our finance department, the county manager, to create some incentives, along with you guys, to encourage our staff to be available, to increase their performance. Just the other day, I was with Mr. Espiritu at the job fair, and that was successful. We were able to find 5 people that completed the interview process or going through the hiring process now. We had a couple people that started on Monday. We've got 3 more that start the next Monday. So we're seeing a change with some of the incentives that we're seeing and some of the processes that we're doing. Internally, it's some choices and decisions I have to make to assess our staff, assess our populations, the risks and needs, and make some changes inside internally to make sure the facility continues to operate appropriately and safely. And we're doing that. And we're asking that a little bit more of some of our staff, and they've stepped up to it. So
I think with some of these changes, some of the incentives that we've built, we're going to be able to increase that staff, lower that number in the vacancy, and then we'll see a more efficient and more prepared staff, and we'll be able to grow off of that. So with your guys' help recently and helping create some of those incentives, we're already starting to see a change in some of the morale with the staff and people participating, and it's been a good recruiting tool. We were able to use it as early as this week, and we saw some impact and able to explain to some of these people that don't have jobs that there's other incentives outside of their rate that they could come in and earn if they're willing to work. So we have some things going on, and we do have a professional crew working. So please don't think that we have a barn fire over there. We've got some really great people doing great things, and I want to add to that great group of people so that we can continue to operate as one of the top facilities in this state. So, and with that, I'll stand for any questions.
Commissioners, any questions for Justin? I don't see any. Justin, I must say thank you for coming in and kind of picking up the reins, taking the baton from our Clay being a great hospital administrator, and I know that Clay was probably a mentor for you in the early years of your start. And barn fires, no barn fires, but it continues to smolder out there. And so I appreciate you keeping it at that level, because anytime you're running a detention facility with the issues that we have going on today, keeping it there is a lot better than letting it putting gasoline on it to get it going. So great job out there. Keep doing what you're doing, and we'll get that staff back out there for you. And your leadership is impressive and greatly appreciated.
Thank you, sir. Here. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, ladies.
All right, we have our next presentation, which kind of coincides with the last one, is from, I'm probably not going to pronounce this correctly, but Initim, say it for me.
Initium Health.
Okay, there you go.
Very close.
And we have Mr. James Corbett in front of us, so thank you.
Thank you. I'm honored to be here in front of you today. I presented at Curry County, and as you know, Curry County, Quay County, DeBaca County, and Roosevelt counties have partnered together to do a feasibility study to determine if a behavioral health facility is possible in Clovis, New Mexico. So today we'll give you the findings of that presentation with hopes that you will join your fellow counties as they take their national opioid settlement dollars and put them into a facility. And there's real hopes that that facility would relieve some of the pressure on detention centers in these counties as well. Next slide, please. So we work in 8 counties, mostly in rural communities. We're based in Denver, Colorado. We work in rural Colorado. We work in rural Texas, rural Washington, rural Oregon, and other places. And this is the work we do around behavioral health facilities, helping communities realize the need for it, showing them the path ahead to build a facility. Unfortunately, as you know, New Mexico doesn't have enough inpatient beds, and those folks unfortunately end up in detention centers across the state. Next slide. The work we do includes behavioral health feasibility studies. We also do the stakeholder agreements. We had the detention center chief in Clovis working closely with us, along with EMT, fire department, and others. And we heard their stories. I think you know, unfortunately, there was a shooting in the Clovis library. That shooting killed a couple of librarians and shot a 10-year-old kid. That gentleman had a mental health disorder. He sought need, the need wasn't there, and he ended up taking it out in the library, unfortunately. 4 years later, we came to that same Clovis General Library, and we brought the whole community there, and that's where we found out the need for a behavioral health facility was immense, and that's what brings me here to you today. Next slide. So today we'll do an overview of the community need in your community and around. It is a regional facility that we hope will serve multiple counties, as we say. I will also talk about the cost of that facility. As I indicated, they're putting no national opioid settlement dollars towards that. We've also been able to secure a federal $2 million grant on behalf of Curry County to work towards this effort. So we're making progress. They've also been meeting with the state and hopeful to grab appropriation dollars to help build this facility as well. So with that, I'll turn it over to my colleague, Kate Bailey. She's done a lot of the research. She's a public health professional. She knows the numbers well. She knows these communities well and has the numbers to support the need for this behavioral health facility. I thank you for my time.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
Thank you for having us. It's really an honor to present the work that we've done with these 4 counties since the beginning of the year. You can see pictured here is actually that Clovis Public Library that we were at, and a representation of 50 people from across community sectors. We had education, healthcare, law enforcement, detention centers, mental health providers, all gathered for one purpose, to say the time is now. We need to address the mental health needs of our residents. And as James mentioned, so as we were going through the feasibility study and learning about the needs, we kept a pulse on what federal funding was coming down and available. And we were able to apply for a $2 million award, which we received in September for the first year. It's over 4 years, to start to look at what solutions we need in addition to a facility. So for this grant, it's focused on workforce, which we were just talking about. How can we address the workforce needs so that we have social workers, so that we have nurses, so that we have people to staff a facility and have a long-term plan for that? And how can we bring better mental health into our public schools as well? Next slide, please. So we'll go to the next slide here. This is just a list here. You can see just of all the folks that we interviewed. We conducted over 70 interviews with folks from across county departments and the different sectors of the community, as we mentioned. And next slide, please. We also included, you see La Casa Family Health Center. I know they have a location here in Roswell as well. It's great to talk with them. A great pulse on the needs of the community. We'll go to the next slide. So we gathered all this information and we kind of bring it through this process that you see outlined here, where we do a gap analysis. We look at how many people are affected with mental health and substance use concerns, which we broadly call behavioral health. And then what are the services that are available and what's not available? And where is it not available? And what is the impact of that and the fallout from that? And then we move into service needs and projections, where we work with our clinical staff. We have a psychiatrist and a social worker on staff with us, and we do a review to see what are the actual services that are needed, either within or outside of a facility, and then the financial analysis. And over there on the far right, we do a benefit analysis. So, should a facility be constructed and these services be provided, what would we expect in terms of reductions in arrest, reductions in jail days, reductions in emergency room visits, and all the other places where the community is feeling the impact of the lack of services today? Next slide, please. New Mexico is in a mental health crisis, and eastern New Mexico has nothing in place for acute behavioral health treatment. So this was something that we heard directly from a social worker in Clovis. And really, the next slide will show you, and a picture speaks 1,000 words here, where you can see if we drop a pin, that red pin there is right at Roosevelt General Hospital. If a community member comes into that hospital in a mental health crisis, there are no services available there or at the other 2 hospitals in those 4 counties, and they must be sent out, sometimes out of state, most often to Las Cruces, 4.5, 5 hours away, for that type of care. And we would never tolerate this for a heart attack, right? But if you are in a mental health emergency, this is what happens. So not only is this terrible for the individual in crisis, where now they're going to the hospital so far away, typically families aren't able to make that drive and come and see their loved one during their hospitalization, but also in many of these counties, it differs a little bit on who's doing the transportation, but often it's EMS. So now you're tying up an ambulance for 10 to 12 hours round trip. And that's an ambulance that can't respond to the needs in the community. So we heard a lot from fire and EMS about their concerns around that. In addition, and there's no statistics on this, but we heard this many times, they will often take a person to one of these facilities and be turned away at the door and sent back. So the need is great. Laying it out here, I think, is a powerful way to look at it. We'll go to the next slide, please. When we look at the numbers from a public health perspective, there's 14,000 to 18,000 residents across these 4 counties who have some mental health condition. When they're in need of emergency care, they run into the situation that we were just looking at on the map. And then this story over here, so as we did the community engagement, we were careful to include people who either have a behavioral health condition or have family members, so we understood really what occurs. And you can see there on the right, this family says, my nephew has needed an acute admission, so hospitalization, since mid-January. He's suicidal and homicidal. We've begged the local hospital to safely transport him to an acute facility every time he's discharged home. My family cannot safely transport him to Amarillo, Roswell, Las Cruces, Albuquerque. They can barely safely get him to the emergency room after coaxing him to only be released. Next slide, please. When we look at substance use disorder, so there's just over 7,000 people estimated in the 4-county region to have a substance use disorder. 22% are receiving any type of treatment, and the rest are going without treatment. Next slide, please. So we've talked a little bit about the public health and safety system's impact, but you can see here about 600 calls a year across these 4 counties coming in for mental health, overdose, and suicide attempts. And now when we spoke with both sheriff's departments and the local law enforcement, it was just this message of, we know we are not the answer, but we are the only option. We know we're not well equipped. We'd love to be trained even, because we don't have any resources to respond other than to arrest someone and bring them to the county detention center. And so the next slide will show you a little bit on that. Without a local facility, the detention centers become the de facto behavioral health facility. And I didn't know until this morning about that leading to those mental health claims that we just heard about for the claim of lack of adequate mental health care and how costly that is. But from Curry County Detention Center, 65% of individuals that come into jail have a mental illness. And the recidivism rate within 90 days is 70% of detainees coming back in. So clearly, this system is not working. Next slide, please. So what would it mean to have a facility? What would it mean to actually have a resource on this side of the state? When we went through our recommendations, we looked at a number of things. There's a benchmark that says you should have at least 50 inpatient psychiatric beds per 100,000 population. So that's one benchmark we used. We also looked at what would be financially sound, because the last thing we want to do is set up something that then needs subsidies, and then we have to figure out how it's going to live into the future. So if we go to the next slide, these are our recommendations. So you can see 72 psychiatric beds is what we recommend for this region. Now in New Mexico as a whole, if you take that benchmark of 50 for 100,000, New Mexico as a state is short about 440 beds. So this would bridge that gap by 72. But we want to make sure that we also have care for substance use disorder. So adult detoxification, what that means is there's a safe, medically attended space for someone to withdraw from a substance. And then short-term residential care provides 21 days of care in a controlled and supportive setting for someone to really start their recovery. Right now, folks don't have any options other than they're detoxifying in the detention center with little to no appropriate care, or in the emergency room where then they're back out on the street with no follow-up. So next slide, please. And we also spoke with the community in the library that day about creating a facility that people would want to come to for care, that would be designed in such a way that would be a place of healing and hope. And we know that the built environment actually can reduce stress, or it could promote stress. It can reduce aggression. And so we talked about what would it mean in New Mexico. These are some other facilities from other states, but what would it look like in this culture, in this setting, to design a facility that would promote healing? So here's where the rubber meets the road, right? Financial projections. So in all these assumptions, the next few slides, you'll see, in the next few slides, our assumption is we're able to obtain funding for the capital expense, either through the state, federal grant funding, or other private donors and fundraising. So if you look there, our estimations right now for the size of facility that we were just looking at would be a $45 million construction and development. In year one, we'd see an annual revenue of $16.7 million and costs of $19.9 million. And that's become evident in just a second. We were building in conservatively a ramp-up period because we know we're not going to fill every bed on day one. And that's mainly driven by staffing, that it's going to take time to build up the staffing, to open up the beds, and to fill those beds. So it's a little bit, hopefully you can see the numbers there, really just focusing on those last two rows there at the bottom. Based on these projections, we would see a positive cash flow in year 3 of $824,000, and then a break-even point would be between year 4 and 5, where the facility is now made up for that initial ramp-up period. And then into the future would be sustainable and be able to invest that profit back into the facility. Thank you. So with that, we understand those are very large numbers, and we want to make sure that this is achievable. So we've also looked at what would happen if we dropped the number of beds? What would happen if we changed the size of the facility? What if we weren't able to get all of the dollars to build a facility of that size? So we've built an interactive financial model where you can change different parts of our assumptions, and we can look at dropping down those beds and what would that mean. And I just want to call out, we also recommend a crisis triage center, which is basically the front door of a facility like this. So someone has somewhere to go aside from the emergency room to get immediate care, where they can walk in a mental health crisis and speak with someone who can help them right in that moment. And oftentimes that can even negate the need for a hospitalization in the first place. Thank you. And there on the right-hand side, there's a picture of our interactive model there. We'll just go on here. So as we come to a close, I wanted to just highlight that this fits into kind of a statewide model of what we call hub and spoke. So should we have a facility like this with all of this expertise in this region of the state, it would serve as a hub where someone could get that higher level of care, which you need during a hospitalization, but we want to make sure it's connected to spokes like La Casa, where people after that hospital stay can get the ongoing care that they need. Because right now, when they're going out to Las Cruces and Albuquerque, there's such a disconnect. The providers back in Clovis don't know what the providers in Albuquerque did, and then someone comes back and they can't get on their medication again, and then it's right back into the cycle. And so we want to be mindful and make sure that this was set up in a way where that would not happen. And lastly, these are kind of our next steps. So broad strokes here, we obviously need the funding secured, some pre-construction planning, including an architect design study and looking at a site survey, where should this facility be? And then partnerships. It's important to partner with the local healthcare providers, and also what would be the best management company to come in and run this. And then finally, workforce and staffing. We've been talking with universities and colleges about what can we do today, so should this facility come online in 4 years, there's a workforce ready to staff it. So thank you very much for your time, and I'm ready for any questions.
Thank you. Commissioners, any questions?
Where does your projected revenue come from?
So that came from the payer mix of the local hospitals. So whether it's Medicare, Medicaid, commercial insurance, and so forth, TRICARE, we use that as the basis of saying this is who would be coming into the facility, and then what are the rates they pay for the services we provide, the facility would provide.
And Mr. Chairman, you said you currently have Curry, Quay, Debaca, and Roosevelt County as a buy-in for this region. Is that correct?
As well as the city of Clovis, the city of Portales, and the village of Fort Sumner.
Okay. So you said the next step is trying to procure land somewhere in there. I mean, what is the next step?
Yeah, so the next step, there's kind of a few different avenues. One is the funding. We've had initial conversations with I'm blanking on the Department of Administration and Finance, and also a couple other folks at the state level, the governor as well, and in her office, and then the architect and design study and the site survey. Yes, so that when originally these 4 counties came together, there was an initial agreement, I would say, that the best place in that area would be to locate a facility in Clovis. So kind of within that is where we're looking at land potential.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So have it in Clovis, and then, like you said, hub out into the different counties.
Exactly.
And then maybe go from there, other counties, or just these 4 counties for right now?
So when we did the feasibility study, we did contact hospitals in other counties and surrounding counties, and we spoke with them and said, if there was a facility here, would you send patients? And it was a resounding yes.
Okay. And so if these 4 counties, the staff has to be there too. So, you have to look at staffing and the mental health providing and stuff like that in this regional. So,
absolutely.
Okay. So hopefully the 4 counties have the resources.
Yeah, and that's the idea of the hub and spoke, is that if you centralize all those resources and build one larger facility, you're actually kind of getting an economy of scale, rather than trying to put a psychiatrist in a bunch
Right.
of smaller facilities, which we
Right.
know is just not tenable.
Okay. Thank you, I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Jeff, you have any questions? Commissioner
No, I
Bilber?
don't. Thank you.
Thanks.
No, I don't.
Couple of quick questions for you. And one of these will go to Commissioner Dana because she attended the Behavioral Health Summit in Santa Fe, and I'm just curious how this plays into the conversations that you had in Santa Fe.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yes, we did go to the behavioral health, and we're trying to accomplish the same thing that y'all are, is getting them before they get into the detention facility. And we came up with, I mean, all 33 counties were there, so, and they discussed this as well as, I believe, Lee County, some initiatives that they're coming up with too. But yeah, the pool, the resources are so limited, especially in our smaller counties, and everybody knows that throughout the state of New Mexico. But that is one of the things that they had talked about, is the behavioral health facility. And so I'm glad you're here, because we have talked about that throughout our meetings that we've had, is maybe having a regional facility. And if it works, if it comes up, and that can be a model for different throughout New Mexico. So I thank you very much, because we've heard the scenario throughout all the meetings that we've had. So we really appreciate you being here, and hopefully these 4 counties are invested. We're finding the problem here in Chaves County with Justin and I going to these meetings is, my money, my pool, you're not getting it. So we have to break that barrier too, is yes, we understand you have funding, but we're not taking funding, we're pooling funding. We have to pool resources, and we're to that point in the state of New Mexico. We have to do something. We are at a crisis. And so we have to pool and work together, and I commend you on working with these 4 counties, because maybe this is the answer. We're to that point. We've got to find some answers, and we've got to find some models that work. So thank you. We appreciate this, because we are in discussion too of trying to find a facility or something and get them before they get into law enforcement. Get the resources, or have law enforcement, here are the resources, because we can't go the same path that we've been going. So appreciate it. Please keep us informed. I know we will through New Mexico counties. Justin and I will be working on that. New Mexico counties is working on that. So let us know. I think it's a great initiative. I'm glad that you're helping them. Something has to happen, and if this is the way it needs to go, and the model it needs to go, and the pooling of funding it needs to go, that's wonderful. Thank you. We appreciate it.
And I thank you, and I just want to say that I think your detention staff and your staff here recognize that those people are being transported from over in these 4 counties here right now. So partnering together would help provide relief, and the ambulances are driving all the way out here consistently. And we've heard people there say they can't do their jobs, and they're driving here, and it's unfortunate. So that's part of why we want that hub model, so that this region can be supported as a whole by partnering together across multiple counties. So thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you.
Thank you. So real quick, so you guys, I heard, 100 beds per population of 100,000. Okay, and so, and I've heard the 4 counties. Have you guys had any conversation or discussion with Lee and Eddy County also? I would be really, it would be a good thing if we had a regional facility that would include everything in southeastern New Mexico. And so I'm not sure what kind of conversations you've had with Lee and Eddy County also.
Yeah, we haven't had that yet. We've been taking our direction from Manager Holwalt and the Clovis and Manager Pyle. in Curry County, but I think those are things that we can start broadening. I mean, they started small and they've grown to 4 counties, a total of 4 counties and 3 cities, so 7. And we're hopeful to make it even larger. But I will say that it's pretty sad, but it was mentioned earlier, people never partner across county lines this way. But the very fact that they were able to partner across county lines means that they were able to get this $2 million federal funding. They wouldn't have got it otherwise. There are 50 organizations, 25 organizations that came together and partnered to do it. And that's the exciting thing, because now they're putting themselves together. I mean, all 4 counties together, as we know, is still only 100,000. But with 100,000 people and lives, then you can do more than you can when you're talking about 25,000, 10,000 per community. So that's where we've been successful. But I will take your advice back to those counselors and suggest they try to bring and broaden the partnership.
And Mr. Chairman, we heard from Eddie and Lee County during our summit. They're kind of going in a different direction and trying to provide a center on their own. So that's why they're not kind of looking at partnering. So their counties want to go a little bit different direction. But they are looking at a facility in
Right.
those counties. So they didn't want to quite go with the regional just yet. They're working on some of ideas on their own, so that's why. That's
Okay.
why they don't want to do the regional just yet.
So if your formula is 50 beds per 100,000, and your pro forma on the center was 100 and what beds?
So 72 inpatient psychiatric beds, which is where that benchmark relates
But
to.
then weren't there other beds another 24 beds on the other side of the column?
Yes, for substance
Okay,
use
so that's
disorder
100
care.
beds. So what geographic area would that facility serve?
Yeah, so in addition to the 4 counties, we looked at where there's not facilities in the surrounding area, and we know that those folks are going to come. You know, if you put a facility there in Clovis, it's not just, no one's going to say, I can't cross that county line, right, to come in. We know that it's going to come. And then also, the bed number also relates to what's going to be financially viable, right? Because if you start to shrink that facility size, now you have less revenue, but you still need a psychiatrist and nurse practitioners and all of those expenses.
So on that pro forma you showed us, would that include any of the extreme West Texas counties that are just on the other side of the line? Are you going to reach out to them?
Well, the hope is that right now what's happening is people are going to Amarillo and outside of the state. You know, a 5-hour drive is what we're seeing at times. And the hope is that we can prevent people from having to leave the state. The hope is not to draw people from the other state. That's not the hope. We have enough need in New Mexico alone. It's a very complicated scenario, but I thank you for your consideration, and I think that the counties that are coming together are leading the way, and it's surprising that some have decided to go their own path, but you know, when you have 2 small counties to build a facility of that size, it's very hard. Having the same conversation with the detention centers, how hard is it to maintain them when you're so small? So partnering is the path ahead, but we're in the early stages. We're not seeing this happening a lot across the country. I think the city councilors and managers in those communities are brave, and they're not doing it with a tax either. They're not asking for a tax. They're looking to do it by using dollars, using public funding, and that's their approach, and I admire that as well.
Have you gotten any financial commitments from those 4 counties?
Right now, the financial commitment is that they're using their opioid settlement dollars to put it path ahead. They do not want a tax, and they also don't want long-term subsidies. So that's what you're seeing sadly across the country, across the state, is that these facilities are being built, and then they can't sustain themselves on their own, so then they go back and ask for a tax raise, or they go back and ask for state funding into perpetuity. And now those are decisions way beyond mine, but I admire that these 4 communities want to do it in an independent way and make it sustainable on their own.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys, and unfortunately, this is the behavioral health stuff is something that's been started growing in the mid-'80s, and we're at a point now, 45 years later, that it's on top of us, and we better figure out how to get a hold of it before it gets out of control. I mean, we see all these shootings and across the country. I mean, this isn't just local. This is across the country. I'm going to be really interested to see what the outcome of the 4 people that were murdered up in, I think it was Idaho, at the university up there. They were all stabbed. I mean, everybody blames guns and things like that, but you've got folks out there that have really, you know, their behavioral health, their mental disorders or whatever are pretty scary. And so we need facilities like this to help to get those things under control. So I appreciate what you guys are doing, and we'll see where we go with this.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Thank you.
All right, commissioners. Canvassing. Oh, caller, you. Okay. Yes.
Okay. Somebody introduce me.
Okay.
Here's Calder.
Commissioner Zell, you're up. Thank you.
As you heard, Commissioner Cavan had been on the board of the Association of Counties for several years and will be leaving that board. And they have presented him with duly deserved recognition. Let me read this letter from their Executive Director, Matt Chase. Commissioner Cavan, we wish you all the best in your future endeavors. May you enter your next adventure knowing you have made a remarkable contribution to the lives of Chaves County, New Mexico. Your dedication to county service has left a lasting mark on each of us across the National Association of Counties. Again, all the best to you today and every day. You will be greatly missed. With respect, Matt Chase, CEO, Executive Director, the National Association of Counties.
All right.
And they have presented him with this lovely, not a snow globe, that says, much appreciation for your outstanding and dedicated service, the Honorable Will Cavan, Chavez, C-H-A-V-E-Z, County, New Mexico.
When will they learn?
And at the risk of making that recognition pale in insignificance, I would like to point out that the 27th Annual World Championship Ranch Rodeo held by the Working Ranch Cowboys Association was last weekend in Amarillo, Texas. And that Singleton Ranches, led by our own Jeff Bilberry, was the reserve champion.
All right.
Woo!
And Jeff, I wish you were here because there are lots of cameras around, and you're so cute when I make you blush.
I'm blushing right now.
No, I knew you would be, and that's why I was hoping you were here. But that's a big deal, guys, and it was a job well done. And they even let the old man do something besides pay for the beer.
That's it. I've got an awful good crew, and they do all the work, and they deserve all the credit. But I appreciate you guys recognizing us.
And I want to point out that the team that won it, the only team that beat them, was kind of an all-star team put together by two ranches.
Oh.
And so, you know, so Singleton played by the rules and just took their guys and no ringers and did very, very well, came in second, reserve champion.
Woo! That's cool.
Congratulations, Commissioner Bilberry. So,
Thank you.
while we're on congratulations type stuff, you guys see this up here, this Texas fine bottle of Texas whiskey that Commissioner Taylor has awarded to me after my Houston Astros won the 2022 World Series. So,
right.
Way to go, Astros. Anyway. All right, let's jump to canvassing real quick. Miss Cindy, sorry to delay with all these extras.
Well, good morning, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. First, I would like to thank you for honoring the election workers today. You know, staff and I are always trying to find ways to express our appreciation to everyone that works the election. And it means a lot to us that you took the initiative to honor them today. You know, there's people still in this room here that have worked elections for Chaves County long before any of us were here. And they are an incredibly important process, aspect to the election process. And so thank you for honoring them. I would like to take just a few minutes before we get into the numbers to talk about the amazing staff in the Chaves County Clerk's office. You know, putting on an election doesn't happen overnight. It takes months and months and months of preparation. And these ladies and one gentleman have worked incredibly hard. Travis and his wife welcomed a new baby on 10/16, so that was right in the middle of early voting. I tried not to be too upset with him, but he's an adorable little guy, so we're happy for them.
Travis?
He was back for Election Day to help us out. But we were shorthanded on Election Day. You know, life happens and people have to take care of responsibilities. So just a small look into what happens on Election Day. 3 of our employees arrived at the office before 6 a.m. to be there to answer phones. The other 4 of us were out and about. We like to go to every polling location, make sure they are up and going and deal with all of the issues. IT was able to help us out yesterday, and they said that on Election Day, our office received 177 calls. Staff processed 350 same-day voter registrations. They got the counter. They serviced customers that came in the door. And doing all of that, they continued to have a pleasant attitude all day. And Jennifer, the staff had to leave. We closed the office from 9 to 10, but Jennifer even made us chicken enchiladas, so that helped us get through our day. No one took a lunch break that day. Staff worked from 6 in the morning to 9 at night. And, you know, I just want to say that I am grateful for such an amazing group of people that I get to work with. Not only do they take their jobs very seriously and they do a good job, but they're fun people to be around, and I'm grateful for them. You know, there weren't many issues this election. That's always a good thing. When you have a lot of technology, you're always going to have problems. But once we got all those kinks worked out early in the morning, I feel like the rest of the day went fairly smooth. You have before you a candidate summary which will show all of the votes for each candidate, as well as the total number of votes for each constitutional amendment and bond question in Chaves County. If you will look at the 4th page you were given, it's kind of a breakdown of numbers. There were 7,944 early voters, 1,117 counted absentee ballots, 14 military ballots, 5 provisional ballots were counted, and 7,299 voters on Election Day. For the provisional ballots, we actually issued 6 provisional ballots. 3 of those were emergency ballots that were issued in the absentee process for people that were in the hospital and unable to physically show up to vote. 1 was issued during early voting and 1 on Election Day due to problems with the same-day registration process. 5 of those were counted. We did have 1 provisional ballot issued on Election Day that was rejected because the envelope wasn't signed. Before the election, I made public statements that we would check every ballot in Chaves County to make sure that all write-in votes were tallied properly and to ensure that every vote would be counted. And I stand before you today with confidence that that occurred. Our election workers were asked to go through all of the ballots election night to look for any write-ins that might have been missed in the write-in bin. Our absentee board went through the early and absentee ballots. This is the first election where write-ins, where the bubble was not filled in on the ballot, were also diverted into the write-in bin. We had 3 write-in candidates on this ballot. You do have the total. Mr. Marker was the only write-in candidate that received votes that counted in Chaves County. The process to hand tally these write-in votes is very tedious and incredibly time-consuming. Our absentee board started with 4 people and ended up with us calling in 3 more people to help them complete this task in a timely manner. They worked a total combined of 96 hours. They also had to complete and fill out and sign 792 pieces of paper for all of the write-in votes. I have asked Carrie Hollifield to be here today. She was a part of our absentee board and has done it for many years. And I thought that it would be better to hear from someone that actually did the work about that process, should you have any questions. So I don't know if you want to do that now, or if you have questions for me, or how you want to do that.
Whatever your pleasure is. This is your report. This is your show.
You know, we're on the write-in, so let's hear from Carrie, if that's okay.
Okay, great. Ms. Carrie, if you would, state your name and address for the record.
Carrie Hollifield, 3930 South Brown Road, Roswell, 88203.
Thank you.
The process, the write-in process. Let me first, if you don't mind my saying, when a write-in candidate is out there campaigning, number one, primary, first, you got to write in the name. In one particular polling location, we had 159 write-in ballots to be tabulated. Of those, 20% did not write the name down.
Just filled in the bubble?
Filled in the bubble, and that was it. That was worthless. That was, obviously, they thought they were going to write in. What is write in? I mean, it just blew my mind. We were, it was a very tedious process. You have to look at each one. We did an incredible job, and it was amazing. But I do need to say, we did not take Larry Marshall.
I didn't know
Sorry.
he was. I'll have to ask him next time I visit with him.
Yeah, you didn't. He was the write-in.
Gee, I didn't know. I'll ask him.
You know, in the regs that from the Secretary of State's office, it gives us a lot of leeway as to what we can take or what we can't, you know, what we shouldn't take. There were some where they failed to fill in, blacken the bubble, but if they wrote Larry Marker, we took it, you know. It was a pretty well, you know, uniform decision on everybody's part. Even if they didn't blacken in the bubble, if that name was there, that ballot got tallied. So, I don't know any questions.
Commissioners, any questions?
Thank you.
I would
Yes,
just make a
thank you.
statement. Thank you.
For your
I mean,
96 hours, we appreciate it.
Signing those forms, because you have to sign one for each precinct, and I'm telling you, 1,400 signatures was unbelievable.
And you now know what your name is, right?
Carrie H. Yes, definitely. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Carey.
Thank you, Carrie.
Thank you, Carrie.
The last sheet that you have is just kind of a breakdown of numbers. It shows you the eligible voters, total number, breakdown by party, how many of those voted in what type of voting, and then just some percentages by party. Overall, we had a total ballots cast of 16,379 ballots and a 46% turnout.
Miss Cindy, so on this page, it shows that you had 350 people register to vote the same day. Is that on election day?
On election day, we processed 350 same-day registrations. That is not necessarily new registrants. They could have been updating an address, which is the majority of that,
Okay.
which is important so that they vote in the right district.
Okay, thank you for that.
Good. Mr. Chairman, okay, so you had 4 people that were on your absentee board, and you called in 3 more because of the hand counting. They're hand counting these votes, is that correct?
Commissioner, yes, that is correct. So we originally had 6 people on the board. One did not show up, and the other was ill, and so that left our board with 4 people. When we realized how much work was going to go into the process of the tallying the write-in votes, we did bring in 3 more people to help with this process so that it could get done by Thursday afternoon since we were off Friday. We wanted to have results completed by then.
Okay. Are these people paid?
They are paid, yes.
So they
ma'am.
got paid for 96 hours plus some?
Yes,
Is
ma'am.
that correct? Okay. Who pays for them?
So the Secretary of State's office was supposed to provide funding for the election. Chaves County has not received that funding. We will submit an invoice to the state for reimbursement, but right now those costs are being covered by the county.
Okay. By the taxpayers of Chaves County in the state of New Mexico, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Thank you for everything that you did. Thank you to your absentee board. 96 hours. I don't believe we've ever had that many hours.
No, no, ma'am, we have not.
And the 350 same-day voter
Registrations.
registrations. I think we've had maybe in past 3, if I remember correctly.
Right.
That's quite a bit. But that's good that they're updating, because I was making calls. We need them updated, so that's great. Well, thank you. Thank you to you, your staff, your absentee, your poll workers. I'm glad we recognize them, because this was kind of a hard election for them, and I'm just glad that they hung in there and did their job. I know it's hard for people to give up their day, like you said, 6 a.m. to 7, 8, 9 p.m. For some of these people, it's a hard, long day. So I appreciate them. I appreciate everything that y'all have done. Thank you.
Thank you.
Cindy.
I might add there was some concern about the amount of write-in ballots that the tabulators or the voting machines would hold. And the highest number of write-in ballots that were in any machine was 123. We did take those out nightly during early voting. We talked about that process earlier at one of your meetings. But on election day, the highest number was 123.
So we never did cross that threshold to where we had a problem.
We did not.
Okay, good.
Because that
Good.
was what, 250?
I think it's more than that, but I think that's what Dominion says, around 250.
So that never became an issue at any of our polling places?
No, ma'am.
Okay, good, good, thank you.
Commissioners, any other questions for Ms. Cindy?
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Ezell.
I move we approve the clerk's canvass of the November 8, 2022 general election.
Second, Mr. Chairman. Jeff, you're too slow.
That's what happens when you're out on the road. I have a motion by Commissioner Ezell and a second by Commissioner Dana to approve county clerk's canvass of the November 8th general election for the Chaves County and the state of New Mexico and any other races that were in this general election. Any further questions or discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed, same sign. Passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you
you.
guys, and thank you for
you.
such a great job. You guys are amazing. Commissioners, if you don't mind, let's take a 10-minute adjournment, and then we'll come back to the regular part of the agenda and knock this puppy out of the park. We're adjourned for 10 minutes.
My coffee's barking.
Get some more Diet Coke, go to the bathroom. Maybe I'll break out some of that.
Yes,
I was about to
please.
say, there's an unopened bottle
Yes, he's
within
gonna go
range.
get some Diet Coke to break him out.
Adjourn. It is a little after 11 o'clock, so let's go ahead and get back on track and get this rodeo going again.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, agenda item number 1 is Agreement A. Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, agenda item number 1 is Agreement A 22042, which is a lease between Chaves County and Tobosa Developmental Services. This is for the lease of 110 East Summit Street. The building known as the Joe Madrid Building was built a few years ago with CDBG money. This lease provides the location for a multitude of programs for school-aged children in our community. Staff recommends approval.
Commissioners, any questions for Bill?
5-year term, right?
Yes, one with 4 additional, is that correct, Stan? The term? Just a flat 5, okay. That's right.
Yeah.
And of course, there's also an exhibit in there showing the services that Tobosa provides to our community and how we arrived at a fair market rental value.
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Taylor?
I move approval of Agreement A-22-042, lease between Chaves County and the Tobosa Development Services for the 110 East Summit Street building, the Joe Madrid building.
Second, Mr. Chairman.
Got a motion by Commissioner Taylor and a second by Commissioner Commissioner D, to approve agenda item 1, which is agreement A-22-042, which is an agreement with Tobosa for the lease of the Joe Madrid building at the address that Commissioner Taylor stated. Commissioner Bilberry, are you still on?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed, same sign. Passes unanimously. Agenda item 2. Who we got on this one, Bill?
She goes.
George.
Georgiana. She's on her way.
Georgiana.
Come on down.
Come on, George.
Commissioners. This morning, we're asking for approval to adopt Resolution R-22060 between Chaves County and the New Mexico Department of Transportation to participate in the Capital Outlay Program. And I'm also requesting approval of Agreement A-22009 for Appropriation 22G3129 in the amount of $500,000 for the West Brasher Bridge Replacement Project. Staff recommends approval.
Commissioners, any questions for George?
Georgiana, is this to build it or to think about it?
No, this is to build.
Thank you. Appreciate it. I'm tired of the calls.
Well, I have to give kudos to Joe West because he did present and request funding through TPF, and he received it, so this project is fully funded at this point.
Wonderful.
So we're finally going to get this project done.
Yes.
Wonderful.
Okay. We've got all the engineering and everything else. We're ready just to go ahead and have the funds and got somebody to build it and all the other good stuff.
Well, no, that's a process.
Okay.
But we have the money
We
to
have the
do the
money.
process.
Okay.
Perfect.
There you go.
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Zell.
I move approval of Resolution R-22060, Agreement A-22009, and Appropriation 22-G3129.
Second, Mr. Chairman.
Got a motion by Commissioner
yada.
Zell and a second by Commissioner Dana to approve agreement, or agenda item 2, agreement R-22-060 to adopt resolution between Chaves County and New Mexico Department of Transportation to participate in the Capital Outlay Program and approve agreement A-22-009 for appropriation 22-G3129 in the amount of $500,000 for the West Brasher Road Bridge Replacement Project. Is that what you guys were motioning?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. Any further questions or discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed, same sign. Passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you, Georgiana. Miss Lucia.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners. Agenda item number 3 is Resolution R-22-061, which is the deletion of property and proposed disposition. Your approval of this resolution will allow staff to remove attached inventory. The Exhibit A has all the assets listed. Staff recommends approval.
Commissioners, any questions for Miss Lucia?
Mr. Chairman, I need that large skillet from the detention center that's on here.
Well, I was thinking that you were going to go after the irreparable large TV, so you
Well,
could use it for shooting practice.
I thought about
You
that,
and
but I
John.
already have one of those. So I need the large skillet.
The target practice.
I have plenty of those in yard signs.
You don't have a whole lot on this list today.
Those that know. Yes.
Commissioners, any other questions for Lucia?
Mr. Chairman, I move that we pass Resolution R-22-061, deletion of property and proposed disposition.
Second.
Got a motion by Commissioner Dana and a second by Commissioner Taylor to approve Agenda Item 3, Agreement R-22-061, the fixed asset disposal disposition. Any further questions or discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed, same sign. Passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Bill Williams.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, agenda item number 4 is Resolution R-22-062, which is the holiday schedule for 2023. In accordance with Chaves County Personnel Policy, the Commission establishes the holiday schedule for the following calendar year. The proposed 2023 holiday schedule is attached, and we would recommend your approval.
Commissioners, any questions for Bill? Bill, am I missing something? Did we not have Veterans Day off this year?
We did have Veterans Day this year. Next year, it fell on Saturday.
Saturday.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Perfect.
And probably the major change this year is for Independence Day, since it falls on Tuesday. We did Monday and Tuesday. This year, I believe we have 2 days at Christmas time, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we accept Resolution R-22-062 holiday schedule for 2023.
Second.
And a motion by Commissioner Dana and a second by Commissioner Zell to approve Agenda Item 4, Agreement R-22-062, resolution for the 2023 holiday schedule. Any further questions or discussion on this? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Passes unanimously. Jeffrey, we're going to have to get you to make the motion to approve this next item so you get your paycheck.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners. I missed you all.
We missed you.
We missed you.
But not as much as I miss my baby right now. No, he's in great hands with Grandma and Grandpa, so
All right.
it's good to see you all. Agenda item number 5 is Resolution R-22-063, which is a budget adjustment for fiscal year 2023. We are requesting this budget adjustment that are shown in line items in Exhibit A. They are for the Keep Chaves County Beautiful grant that was awarded for this fiscal year, and also for various donations that were made to the Sheriff's Department. Staff recommends approval.
Commissioners, any questions for Ms. Annabelle? Jeff.
Hey, Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Bilberry.
I recommend approval of R-22-063, the budget adjustment for the year of 2023.
Second.
Got a motion by Commissioner Bilberry and a second by Commissioner Zell Approve Agenda Item 5, Agreement R-22-063 for the budget adjustment for the year 2023. Any further questions or discussion? Miss Rita, how did you pull that off?
I'm not telling you.
Okay, thank you. Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Passes 5-0
Thank you.
unanimously.
You're welcome.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, agenda item number 6 is a request for out-of-state travel. And this would be a ratification of Commissioner Cavan's signature. Pete Hernandez was asked to testify in a case held in Midland, Texas on October 26, 2022. We received that notification that he was going to be asked to testify just days before that. So we didn't have time to get this to you before last commission meeting for the out-of-state travel. Of course, he had to go or they would come get him and take him. So we ask that you would approve this request.
Commissioners, any questions for Bill? Please ratify this.
I don't know, did he get a conviction?
I don't think
Was
we
it
have
worth
any
the trip?
we don't have any liabilities, so that's a good.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the request for out-of-state travel.
Come on,
Second.
And a motion by Commissioner Dana and a second by Commissioner Taylor to approve Agenda Item 6, which is a request for out-of-state travel. Any further questions or discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Passes unanimously. Agenda Item 7.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, Mr. Chairman, this pertains to you, and I don't know if you'll want to vote on it, but certainly the others, I think, will. Chaves County Commission Chair Will Cavan has been a member of the Public Lands Committee for the National Association of Counties for 6 years. Commissioner Cavan was appointed by New Mexico Counties to the NACO Western Interstate Region Board, where he has served for 4 years. As a board member for the Western Interstate Region and as a member of the Public Lands Committee, Commissioner Cavan has diligently worked with leaders from western states and has provided Chaves County a strong voice in matters pertaining to management of public lands, PILT, and SRS. Commissioner Cavan's contributions have helped Chaves County to be known as one of the go-to counties for helping to navigate the numerous federal policies which affect endangered species, grazing, forest, waters, and land policy decisions within our counties. Staff is requesting that Commissioner Cavan be appointed as a Chaves County representative to attend the 2023 NACO Legislative Conference to be held in Washington, D.C., February the 11th through the 14th of 2023. Chaves County would be responsible for Commissioner Cavan's travel, lodging, and meals to attend. The benefit to Chaves County for this one-time trip is immeasurable. Staff recommends approval and also just wants to point out that Commissioner Perry is scheduled to go on that trip as well, and that just the introductions alone from Commissioner Cavan to all the players nationwide and certainly in the Western Interstate region make this very necessary. Thank you.
Commissioners, I will abstain from voting on this, but any questions?
Thank you for doing this. And thank you for mentoring Commissioner Perry. This is, with his knowledge and your connections, this is very, very, very important.
But it's your last boondoggle.
That's it. One time.
I believe it's take your own bottle.
Right.
Mr. Chairman, I move approval of Agenda Item 7, appointing Chairman Cavan to be our representative at the NACO 2023 Legislative Conference.
Second, Mr. Chairman.
I have a motion from Commissioner Zell and a second from Commissioner Dana to approve Agenda Item 7, which is appointment to Commissioner Cavan to represent Chaves County at the NACO 2023 Legislative Conference. Any further questions or discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign, and the chairman will recuse himself or will not. I'll abstain. Thank you, Commissioner Zell. Okay. Passes 4-0 with one abstention. Okay, who's spending money today? You got those figures out there, Jeff? Why don't you spend money today?
I don't have the figures.
Okay, we'll let you second it.
Do that.
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Taylor.
I move approval of checks in the amount of $1,820,322.95.
Second, Mr. Chairman. Oh, give it to Jeff.
Give it to the Jeff, Commissioner Bilberry. Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Taylor and a second by Commissioner Bilberry to approve checks in the amount of $1,820,322.95. Any further questions or discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Passes unanimously. Approval of reports.
Mr. Chairman, I move we approve reports.
Second.
Got a motion by Commissioner Dana and a second by Commissioner Zell for approval of reports. Any questions or discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Passes unanimously. All right, we've come to unscheduled communications are limited to 3 minutes per visitor, not to exceed 15 minutes. No formal action will be taken by the commission. Please come to the podium and state your name and address for the record.
Good morning. My name is Kathy Crossley. My address is 4700 Zuni Road. All of you know me, and I thought I knew all of you, but I was wrong. The last time we were here, we spoke to Mr. Bilberry and Mr. Ezell to try to get together to look at the machines and see, give you our perspective, give you our evidence. Mr. Bilberry told me, and he's supposed to be my voice, he said if I could get Mr. Ezell to meet with me, he would make time to meet with me. So we're back to taxation without representation. Then we went to Mr. Dick Taylor, and we took him a proposal about an ordinance on abortion. You said you needed the county attorney to look at it because Mr. Marker is not a lawyer. No, he's not. But he reminds me of a man who is near and dear to me, and that was Mr. Bud Eppers, my dad. He went to many attorneys in his fight over the public lands. Every attorney said, Bud, you can't win. This is a federal government. So he went and looked up the law, just like Mr. Marker does. And I know what you were doing. You were told, do not bring this before the election. We were told that. Ms. Dana, you sat here and attacked Ryan Pirtle for not voting in that meeting. Okay, let's stick with what we know. We know in the 2020 election, there was one vote that was flipped by the machine, and that was in a small sampling. All right, if a machine can flip one vote, what makes you think it can't flip others? I guarantee you it can. And you wonder why people won't go vote? Was it your vote that didn't count? Was it my vote that didn't count? Whose vote was it? We don't know. You want to say that everything is, oh, it's all on the up, and it was the fairest and everything election that you portrayed it to be. I have no doubt that our county clerk, her staff, all of the workers did exactly what they're supposed to do. They ran a very fair election, but when it's fed into the machine, how do we know? We don't, because one vote was flipped. How do we know how many more? We don't, and we won't, because nobody will look at it. So, the low voter turnout, you want to blame on us for bringing these questions? It goes back to you all for not solving the problem. What we could do, save money for all of us, we the people that our state government is spending. Let's stop leasing these machines from Dominion. Let each county buy tabulators that are connected to nothing. We own them. I trust Cindy, I trust you guys. But why you won't look at this is beyond me. I am so disappointed. I guess that's all I have to say. And I can tell you right now, I am leaving. You can say whatever you want in your rebuttals. I will not stick around because of what you did to Ryan Pirtle. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Anybody else?
Hi, my name is Sadie Cardenas. I live at 3768 Horizon Road, and I believe this is where I'm supposed to present this. I'm here to talk about a solar facility that is taking place on Horizon, and I believe there's one on Xena that I wasn't given information on. But they're tearing up the streets, they're having animals, the gophers are moving, the snakes are moving. It's really disruptive out there. It's a lot of residents.
Sorry.
And they're right next door to where I live. The workers had communicated with my husband that they couldn't do any work because there was an owl's nest, a protected owl's nest, and so they were kind of waiting. And they're working around the clock. And last Thursday, I found that owl dead in my yard. I did contact the game warden. They just picked it up this morning. I brought it in a box out there, and they picked it up. They weren't, my understanding was they weren't given a permit on Horizon, but they were on Xena. So we're looking into seeing if we can appeal that. It's not safe. It's not good to be right next door to you, and I'm against that. So I appreciate you hearing me on that. It's just not a safe thing to have those big panels by your home. It's not good for the animals, the environment, or for humans.
Just a real quick comment for you. Lewis is not in the room, but he's next door. If this is something that was passed through the ETZ Commission, you need to talk with Lewis because there's a process to appeal that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
Good morning, Commissioners. I'm Laurel Tisler, 3335 West Bland here in Roswell. And I'm going to back up what Kathy Crosley said. I think we've got some issues, maybe not here. But I want to tell you that I went this morning to look at the SOS site. Last week in Tobacco County News, they did a printout of their election results. Larry Marker got 1 vote. The SOS site said he didn't get a vote. So I went to the Sierra site because I have family in Sierra County. And I know at least 3 people in Sierra County that wrote his name in. And yet, the SOS site shows no votes. I don't know where the issue is, but what I find is that listening to other county commission meetings and following what went on last year, is that our county commissioners are not standing up like they should for what we know is wrong. We know those machines can be monkeyed with, and evidently there's miscommunications between the counties and the Secretary of State. Now, I don't know where that takes place, but I kind of feel like our county commissioners are the people that go between us and the state. And I would like to see some action somewhere that shows that our county commissioners are willing to do that. I also read this morning that Secretary of State has again threatened our county commissioners, and I think that's wrong. I don't know how that is resolved, but that's wrong, that she would threaten you to not on what your job is supposed to do. So I throw that out there because I know other people who feel this way and didn't want to come forward maybe. I just happen to feel like that it needs to be brought to the attention of our commissioners that if there's something wrong, we need to check it out. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else in the audience? Miss Rita, please come to the podium. State your name and address for the record.
I want to apologize for my outburst. Rita Kane Dorhofer, very narrow, unstriped, Chicago Cubs mailbox, Mark Road. I want to talk about several things. Some of it has to do with let's go with the Sierra Fire Department first. They got a call, I think Allison left. They got a call at about 10:15 on Rosebud Lane. And the fire is still smoldering right now. They had 7 pumper trucks out there. So, you know, I always give you tickets to Popo's. You're not getting them. They're all going to the Sierra Fire Department. They have worked tirelessly out there. And if it had jumped the road, you know what property it would have been on, 28 Mark Road, and we know who lives there. So we need to give kudos to the Sierra Volunteer Fire Department. They were out there, everybody was out there, all the trucks were out there. Second, let's talk about my little outburst out there. Nobody questions my integrity or the integrity of the county clerk or of the county clerks that work there. Nobody does that. All right. Now let's talk about something. I'm going to need the county commission, if you think you can do this, to write a better ordinance on trash. You all saw this on Facebook, right? You all saw this trash on Facebook. You can have this. We have cameras. I know we have cameras. We spent, what, $6,000 on cameras? I chatted with Mac, and I was real pleasant, wasn't I? Yes, I wasn't like out there. But he assures me very shortly that the cameras are going to be up. But we need an ordinance that has teeth in it. Once we get the ordinance from the county, then I am proposing to meet with the sheriff, the undersheriff, and Lieutenant Mason about enforcing this, because
Are you talking about Judge Mason?
You mean Judge Mason?
well, he's not a judge yet. He's not a judge yet. He hasn't been sworn in, so I'll talk to Lieutenant Mason about getting the ordinance, writing the tickets, and having it enforced. And I think we need to put some teeth in this before we do anything. We need to have something that is solid, because if you haven't seen this, and I was out there on Sunday, and there was somebody right in front of me dumping didn't want to go into any of the compactors, and they even have a roll-off out there. She just dumped it right there. Maybe she was disabled. Maybe she couldn't reach up there. Maybe she didn't know how to run the compactor. But this should not be happening. And thank you for doing Keep Chaves County Beautiful. I help run Midway. I am the liaison with Midway. And I took Commissioner Dara Dana out there with me. Not that I needed any help, but in case things got ugly, you know, she would sit on me. But we're doing great things out there. We have the internet out there now. In case you didn't know, we got the internet out there. We have a bookshelf out there, and many people are bringing in books. We're doing other things out there, of which I talked to Joe West about, and he will help. So we are getting things done here. Oh yeah, let's talk about the trash now. Trash cans. I also chatted with Mac, and he assures me that they will be put in the walking trail very shortly. So all of our money this year, or for our next grant cycle, we can get more cameras. But we need for them to be put up, and they need to have monitors. Okay, does anybody have any questions? I know you don't want to upset me. I know that. And thank you for sending the 4 or 5 sheriffs out there, because you knew it was going to get ugly. She left, and she wouldn't even let me talk to her, but nobody besmirches my character. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else out there? Anybody? We have anybody out on Facebook that has any comments? John, thank you for sitting through this whole meeting. I know you have something to say, but you're appreciated in this community for all you do for us, and Miss Margaret back there also. So anyway, all right, one more time. All right, Bill Williams, you're up.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, I have a few things I wanted to bring up real quick. Because Commissioner Cavan is going off of the NMC board, we need to hold an election countywide, amongst the elected officials in the county, I should say. We have to notify you of the election and request for nominees before January 3rd, so we're doing that now. The nominees need to contact the county clerk if they're interested in replacing Commissioner Cavan on the NMC board, and put their name in the hat, and then she will have a drop box where you can come in and physically vote, and we have to do the vote before January 13th. January 13th will be the latest, then we'll send that information up to New Mexico counties, and whoever wins our little election will be the new NMC board member. Is that correct? Good.
And that first meeting will be at the New Mexico Legislative Conference.
Right, right. So we want to encourage everyone to run for the office and vote for yourself. I don't know how we do that. But I want to thank the Roswell Chamber of Commerce Roswell Chaves County Economic Development. They helped us with the Operation Greenlight last week. You know, he thanked the county for putting that on and for lighting our buildings green. But he was a big part of the actual presentation of the awards to the different branches of the military. We had someone from every branch that accepted the proclamation on behalf of that branch. Really thankful that just this pay period we started an incentive program for the detention officers who've been putting in so many hours. They work overtime. Yes, they get paid time and a half, but you know, at some point even that gets old. And so thanks to the Finance Committee for agreeing that we needed to implement something quickly to assist them and to keep their morale up so that we could make sure we retain as many as possible and attract as many as possible. So thank you for that. The schedule for next month's meeting, did we need to change that, Commissioner Cavan?
No, I talked with Commissioner Bilberry because it's the cattle growers.
cattle growers is in
They're
Albuquerque.
going to be having a meeting up in Albuquerque, but Commissioner Bill Berry said he would be back for that meeting, and so we won't change it, and because I think the meeting is currently scheduled for what, the
Is it 17, 15?
15th.
15th. Okay.
So if we try to push it back, we're putting it too close to Christmas. So
Yeah.
Commissioner Bill Berry said that he would be back from that meeting for our commission meeting on the 15th.
And also wanted to give kudos to the commission, previous commission and part of this commission for the work that they did on building our detention center. One of the things that was brought up was the shortages of staff and being able to safely accommodate inmates, and the way our detention center is built, we were easily able to take a portion of it offline and centralize the inmates, and that allows us to manage it much better. And thanks again to your staff, Justin, and for what you're doing out there. We appreciate it. November the 29th, we're having a city-county meeting. We've been having these along for a couple of years, and we're having one on Tuesday the 29th. And the same morning, the auditors will be doing the exit interview, and then we need to have a finance committee meeting. So we're meeting city-county to discuss, what we can do to help each other out. Then we'll have the auditors deal, and then the finance committee meeting directly after that. And want to thank you for all you do for the county, and appreciate the time to talk. That's it.
Bill, thanks. Commissioner Taylor.
Mr. Chairman, first of all, I'd like to thank our county clerk's office and all her staff for the excellent job they do in conducting these elections. I think here in Chavez County, we've been very fortunate of having excellent staff and county clerks down through the years. In the many years that I was on the commission prior to this and through, I've seen nothing but excellence in that office, and I'm sure that Cindy is following that example. Prior to this election, she had demonstrations of the voting machines and the process. I think everything was above board. Our clerk's office did an outstanding job, and also all the workers that worked on election day. Again, I say a big thank you to all of them. There may be some complaints that people had, but I think that our election was fair, honest, and there was integrity by all people involved. On a lighter note, I'd like to extend a congratulations to the Gateway Christian football team for winning another state championship, and to the girls, the Goddard girls volleyball team for winning the state championship. Those are great things. I think it's excellent if we can support our athletic teams. We still have the Class 5A football championship.
Don't leave out the Gateway girls volleyball team. They won also. They'll get mad at you if you do that.
Okay. But we have some excellent teams, and Roswell High is still in the semifinals for the state championship. Go out and support them on Saturday afternoon. It may be a little cool, but they're out there playing, and I'm sure it'll be a great game. And I believe the Institute is playing at 6 o'clock that night. I don't know, it's in the playoff finals, and we're hoping that they make it all the way. They play an excellent brand of football, and it's fun to watch. And I'd like to thank all the staff here in Chavez County and in these offices. They all do an excellent job. And hope that everyone has a very blessed and thankful Thanksgiving, and being thankful for all the many blessings that we do have. And from my family to all of your families, happy and blessed Thanksgiving.
Thank you, Commissioner Taylor. Commissioner Dana.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I too want to thank Cindy and her staff, and also our poll workers. Thank you for letting us recognize the poll workers. They take a lot when they're there, and it's a very long day for them, but they do a marvelous job. We had a chance to change stuff, especially in the Secretary of State's office, and that did not come to fruition. So unfortunately, we will have to deal with this legislature, the governor's office, and the Secretary of State office, and the Public Land Commissioner for the next 4 years. So we tried. Always try in southeastern New Mexico to change that, but apparently it's northern New Mexico didn't mind what happened, I guess, during COVID, and decided that everybody needed to stay in their place. But we did our job down here, so thank you. Ms. Rita, I know that Louis had brought that up before about changing our ordinances. Maybe we can get together with Louis and talk to him, because yes, it does need some teeth. He even brought it up. It needs some teeth. He needs some backup and stuff on the trash, because I'm with you. I go over to Midway constantly. Thank you to Joe and his staff. I get the calls from Midway, and by the time I get over there to take my trash, your guys are already on it, you know, and they're picking up other people's trash, and that is horrible that they're having to pick up other people's trash, but they do it. And they're always very courteous to me. I apologize to them, and they're always, yes, ma'am, it's okay, this is our job. And they do that job very well, and I thank you very much. Maybe with the cameras being up, that will kind of help some of this. But like you said, we do need some more teeth in that ordinance. And so maybe with the cameras, that'll help us kind of work with Louis on getting this changed up a little bit and maybe putting some teeth in and stuff. But and thank you to Roswell Chamber, EDC. They're working hard on jobs and business retention and the Wool Bowl. I have gotten involved and a little more into college football thanks to John and my daughter Krista. And so this is really pretty cool. I think it's pretty neat that we're having this here. So maybe, John, we need to go see the Wool Bowl, and I'll wear my Alabama if you wear your Georgia. We'll see how that goes. We both might be in very big trouble with that. So, but I think that's wonderful. We're doing some great things in Chaves County, and it's thank you so much for the staff. Annabelle, I'm glad you're back. Thank you. Everybody in your office did a marvelous job while you were gone. I appreciate the backup. You guys were wonderful. So you guys work very well together. We all do. And I thank you. Thank you, Georgiana. I had something that was brought up. You clearly explained to me what was going on with that question that I had. And so I appreciate your help with that too. So thank you all. Have a wonderful Thanksgiving. We have a lot to be thankful for in this county, this state, and this nation. I know sometimes we feel like we don't, but you know what? It's above us. God's in control. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Dana. Commissioner Zell.
Well, I wasn't quite ready.
Oh.
I was supposed to go.
Well, let's get.
It normally goes on longer than that. I kind of got it down.
I'll warn you next time.
At the risk of being repetitive, Cindy, thank you so much for the way you and your staff and all the volunteers conducted the election. That was awesome. On the trash ordinance, Stan, in recognition of Lieutenant Mason's service to the sheriff's office, and just in our best interest, in case we ever have to appear before then Judge Mason, why don't we drag that new ordinance until January 2nd? Perfect. Welcome back, Annabelle. That's all I have.
Thank you, Commissioner Zell. Commissioner Bilberry, you got back online. Words of wisdom.
I'm back. I want to congratulate everybody that won their election, and want to welcome Mike Perry to the fold, and Dara, thank you, and all that you're doing too. I don't have a lot to say, Cindy. You and your crew are awesome, and your smiling face is worth millions, and I appreciate that. And I wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving. And Calder, I'll see you this evening. Talk to you.
Well, that's right.
I appreciate it.
Great.
I'm a hustling trying to get back. So, anyway, I will see y'all. I'm going to go ahead and get off, guys. Thank you for being patient with me and being on this call and obliging me to call in. We'll talk to you guys later. Thank you.
Thanks, Commissioner Bilberry. Be safe on the road. I would absolutely concur and echo all the comments that have been made by the commissioners. And without being repetitive, I'll just say that I concur with all those things. Georgiana and Joe, I hope you have that bridge up by January 1. You got the money. I mean, come on. And as far as Annabelle and Lucia, you guys are doing an amazing job. Fortunately, we're blessed to have the funds coming in that we do. Do you have any? We're always asking about what our latest GRT is. Do you have any? Is it above average? Are we losing money?
Yes, it actually has been increasing. Those online sales have been helping a lot. The top category right now is still retail. We did receive our GRT in this morning, but I'm emailing TRD to ask clarification. There was another deposit. I'm not sure if that's the equalization tax. That's something that I know the New Mexico counties have been discussing, because there was a calculation done a few weeks ago and it didn't seem like it was correct. Right. TRD was supposed to go back and look at that, and during a class yesterday, actually, they clarified that those distributions would come out before the 20th. So I'm questioning them if the deposit that was done today was actually that equalization tax. But in December's meeting, I will give you an update on that as well as the GRT.
Okay. Do you have any report on what kind of tax or whatever we may be receiving from the cannabis sale?
Yes, so I did send out an email a few weeks ago on the cannabis. We are not receiving anything on cannabis because we don't have any dispensers out in the county. Those taxes only go to, if they're located within city limits, the city will be receiving those sales. If there's any dispensers out in the county, then only the county would be receiving that. However, the percentage of the actual sales, 30% goes to the entity. An example for the city, they would be receiving 30% of those sales. 70% would stay at the state. So, and in my email, I also wrote in there, right now the excise tax is 12% that the consumer is paying for the cannabis, and will be going up to 18%, I believe it's 2028. But like I mentioned, we're not receiving any of that. We don't have any dispensers out in the county, but the city is currently receiving some of that from the dispensers they have in the city limits.
Okay, that's good. Well, hopefully, since the state is keeping so much, that they'll be pushing that back out to the counties and the municipalities to help with the behavioral health issues that are going to be created from that. So, but thank you for that report. Sheriff and Justin, greatly appreciated for all you do for this community. What I talked about with Grace on a program to try and pull in some of our younger folks into law enforcement and detention stuff, I think that's a discussion that we really should work on and have. I think it would be good for us and help create that staffing for both entities and for the county, because I know there's a lot of young folks out there that I think want to serve in those capacities, and so let's work on those. And thank you for all you're doing for us and keeping our community safe. And you guys have people out there fighting that fire with the Sierra County Fire. The Sierra.
We're just direct traffic, just from the neighbor across the street.
Right. Cindy, you guys are great. Thank you. Commissioners have already said it all. I would just, I truly appreciate the passion that we've heard in here today about our election process, and I would tell you my personal opinion. In many of our states, not all, but many, we have an issue with our election codes, and that comes from our legislators then it ends up, if the election codes, we think that they're not what they should be, then that's something that has to be handled in the courtroom. I have no idea. I really can't. I can't even understand how the state of Texas and the state of Florida, two of the largest states in this country and two of the most populous states in this country, can hold an election and be able to count the votes and announce those election results the night of the election. And we have states like Arizona, Nevada, Colorado, California, New York, and other places that are still counting ballots right now. And the process in those states, and I think our state is part of it. I really have a real problem with registering and voting the same day. Pretty simple deal is that you register to vote 30 days before an election, and then you go vote. I think photo ID, a government photo ID, is something that's important to our election processes also. But many states don't have that. Some do. But until we get a grasp on that in a number of our states, we're going to continue to have this type of disappointing, and the election process is going, and people want to say, well, you're disenfranchising people. You're doing this. You're not letting people vote. And I wonder, in my mind, really, how many people came from Texas and Arizona, Colorado, and voted in our election here in the state of New Mexico. Conspiracy theorists, whatever you want to call it, but if you can register and vote on the same day, the day of the election, that to me is a real problem. Do I think the voting machines are bad? I can't say that. I can't. But I do think that the stuffing of ballot boxes and the mail-in stuff and everything, I think we have a real problem with that. You should register 30 days before an election to vote in that election. And so I appreciate the passion that has come into this room and that we've had for the last 2 years. But we as commissioners, when it's time for us to canvass an election and time for us to certify that election, that our amazing county clerk and her staff have done such an amazing job for Chaves County, then that is our job to certify that vote. And we do our jobs there. And so that is all I have to say about our elections. As far as this award that I received today, that doesn't happen because of what I do. It happens because of what we do. I mean, that right there shows that Chaves County is working hard to protect our constituents, our citizens, not only here in Chaves County, but around the state, around the western United States. And that's work that is done. And things like this, Bob Korn, who is now Councilor Korn, Commissioner Korn, I mean, he helped to be a mentor for me to help me do some of the things that have been done on these different boards and out in Washington, D.C. in our legislative conferences and stuff. And so this is a team effort, and the award that was given to me today, it's all about us, not about me. And so thank you to everybody that have helped me over the 8 years that I've been in these positions and worked on these things. Bill, Stan, everybody. It's a team effort, and we do this to make a difference. And we worked hard to make a difference for us. And so none of this is about me. It's about us. And so I really appreciate everybody being here, everything everybody does for this community. Miss Rita, thank you. Appreciate you for all you do for the community. You do a lot of great things, and I know you live out in the county, and people say, well, why are you worried about stuff going on in the city? This is about this community, okay? And we're all about making a difference, and we've got everybody in here who does, okay? It's all about the approach and how you go about doing it, and everybody in this room and in this county are appreciated for all the hard work they do. EDC and Chamber, we got a lot of great things going on. I think we're headed in the right direction now that the city and county are actually working together, especially on the Air Center stuff. And I think we're going to see some great things that are going to happen here in the very near future. So it's all going to be good things for us, for Roswell, Chaves County, and southeastern New Mexico, and the state of New Mexico. So we just got to keep pushing that forward. And gosh, everybody, be thankful for what we have. I know it's easy to be unhappy with some of the stuff that we have going on, but just be thankful that we're here, that we have our families, we have our friends, and we have God looking out for us. So with that, God bless Chaves County, God bless America, and God bless all of you, and have a great Thanksgiving, and we will adjourn this meeting to go sign documents. Thank you.